Hello everyone and welcome to the Commexis Cast Daily, all the news you need to know from our inbox to yours. Today we're talking about BlueCore's report on tailored email marketing. Hello everyone, I'm Matthew McGrorty, the videographer and podcaster here at Commexis, and today I'm joined by the one, the only lead strategist at Commexis, Phillip Brooks.
Hi, how are you?
So today we're talking about tailored email marketing. So we've talked in the past about how useful with different studies tailored email marketing can be, specifically, customizing these messages depending on how you want to do it to the customer that's receiving them, and it can increase some open rates and some interactivity, et cetera, et cetera. So BlueCore found in their 2018 Retail Email Benchmark report
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. That they sent to Business Wire. That's where we found it from. So just so you know, BlueCore is an AI-driven retail marketing platform that brings together website, customer, and live product insights to match customers with the products they love. That's their description of themselves, and I liked it enough to just read it verbatim for them. So they did a sample set of more than 350 million emails aggregated across more than 400 retail clients from October 2016 to September 2017, and they found four main points, and that is what we're going to be discussing today. So I'm going to go through each point, and then we'll have a little back and forth, and then we'll dive into the next one. So the first point, if shoppers have seen a product that they like once, they respond well to seeing it again. So customers who received emails that showcase products that they have window shopped, so they browsed but didn't decide to do anything to, or items that they have added to their shopping cart and then have forgotten about them or just let them sit, people responded very well to receiving email reminders about them. The open rates for those emails were topped at 40%. And I actually just got an email last night that was exactly like that from some stuff I put in a shopping cart probably 2 hours prior.
Yeah, the shopping cart abandonment emails are getting, we've known for a long time that they're very effective. And now that we have so many more tools that you can automate that process through, it makes a separate actual email conversation that occurs. You can really utilize the tools to, create these not only a chain of emails, but a chain of emails based on those products as well.
Yeah, and I think we've talked before about how just that level of, hey, you missed this, hey, we saw you were looking at this, and obviously the study shows that the open rates are pretty significant. 40% is not a low number, especially compared to some of the other stats.
Yeah, given the email, probably the industry average is probably around less than 10%, I would imagine. So
the second point, shoppers continue to respond to product price decreases, which I think is pretty obvious, but specifically when customers were made aware of price decreases on products they've displayed interest in, more than 1 in 10, or 10%, clicked through to a brand's website. I think this one is obvious, the case of, hey, I would love to get 10% off of any item. I do think, and perhaps Phillip can also speak to this, I get a ton of emails about different shopping discounts from a variety of stores, and I get emails like 4 times a day from them. And sometimes it's from the same ones. So perhaps maybe not that often, but
yeah, I mean, this also could tie into the marketing automation aspect that we talked about with the cart abandonment issues with the first point, because a lot of times if you've purchased a product before or you have shown interest in that product, it behooves them to then put you on a list that says whenever that item gets discounted, we'll drop an email in your box that says, hey, look, this is something that you've looked at or something you've purchased before. Here, get a new one, get the new version of it, and by the way, we're going to throw a discount your way as well. Again, it all leads to personalization, and basically the ability to kind of see how people consume products and see the brand, basically put that brand loyalty to the test and say, hey, look, this is something that you've purchased before. If we throw a discount at you, you're probably going to buy it again.
Yeah. So the third point is second looks lead to purchases. Messages that feature merchandise placed in shopping carts and then abandoned, as we mentioned before, generated sales 2% of the time, a rate that is 4 times that of the next most effective tactics. Price decrease notifications are dynamic emails featuring items that were viewed but not placed in carts. So just going back to what we mentioned before, the 2% of the time of those 40% open rates,
Yeah, I mean, the bigger question is, if you're looking at your process, is to see, why that abandonment rate is occurring, and try to figure out, if it's a big problem. It may very well be just as simple as sticker shock. People looking there like, oh wow, I'm not ready to buy that. That's a lot of money, and then therefore the actual sending of that discount makes things much more effective, because now you've basically addressed the one thing that kept them from actually purchasing the product at that time. So that's a really effective strategy.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to look at when you are sending these emails in relation to how long since the cart has been abandoned. For example, yesterday I actually got an email like this, and I had only abandoned the cart 2 hours ago, maybe something like that. So I was looking at 11 o'clock at night and got an email at 1 or 2 in the morning. So just something to keep in mind as well, because I'm sure that has some effect in whether or not those emails are opened. And the final point: consumers like to be reminded of food, leisure, and technology. Who's surprised? Most verticals saw cart abandonment open rates in the 37 to 42% range, but consumers who received messages focusing on the food, leisure, and technology categories were most likely to open emails. These categories generated the highest sales conversion rates as well. Just under 12% of those receiving technology-focused messages and 11% of those opening food and leisure-related messages ultimately made purchases.
So I'm curious. I guess there's no really that section. There's nothing in there for, say, apparel or anything. You don't think that would fall under any of those categories? Because my first thought initially was just these are the ones that are the most visually cued towards visual. You can do a lot more with email when you've got you've got imagery of this place that you can go to visit, or here's food that's been created, or a restaurant, that kind of thing. I'm surprised that there's not a version there, not an inclusion there for clothing and things like that, because that's where I would see.
Yeah, I'm surprised too, but I think this kind of taps into this sort of, I don't want to say primal, because that's not entirely true for things like technology, but that sort of base, with food, it's, maybe I'm hungry at this moment, or they're being timed a certain way, or for leisure, people always like to think about cool and exciting things that they want to do. And technology, obviously, there's always new tech coming out. I know I receive emails from B&H 2-3 times
Look
a
at
week.
this shiny new iPhone.
Basically, yeah. So I'm not too surprised that those numbers are high out there, but I do think apparel, you have a great point, though I will say, of all the apparel companies that I get emails from, I probably get too many emails from those type of companies.
I agree with that there. Maybe just the frequency or the cadence of the emails is what's driving their numbers down, as opposed to the actual content.
Mm-hmm. And then just a final point that the BlueCore report found was that about 1 in 4 marketers are not employing some of these strategies. For example, when we're talking about price reductions and other things like that, and only 1 in 10 use email to alert browsers that out-of-stock merchandise is available again. So that is just one more. Actually, I think that's a really great point. One more thing of, if you know that they're browsing on something that's out of stock, you could send them another email without them knowing or asking necessarily for an alert.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big believer in the wish list thing on sites. I mean, that may be just a per quirk of my own, but if there's stuff I want, I'm always like, ooh, let me see, let me just put it together and figure out how much it's going to cost, and then I can decide, well, maybe I'll buy this when I put a certain amount of money aside, that kind of thing. And oftentimes I'll do that, and then it'll be a product that's out of stock, and I'll start getting emails like, hey, this is in stock now, or whatever. So I think that's a very effective tool. Fits upon that, but it is kind of somewhat surprising that more people aren't taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I think you actually brought up a great point with wish lists, because I know anecdotally, of course, that a lot of the times, especially when I'm looking at things that are more expensive, like camera equipment or something like that, a lot of times I'll put them into a wish list because, hey, I want to be able to find this faster. So those discount wish list emails would be perfect for, hey, this went down 100, hey, get 20% off.
Just anecdotally as well, last night I was trying to convince my wife that I needed an $1,800 investment in new goalie equipment.
I mean, of course.
And she was really, really kind of, I thought personally, just a little bit selfish, because she said something weird about paying the mortgage and keeping food on the table for our daughter, and I was like, but I need new goalie equipment, because, So I do create wish lists on these websites, and I'm like, hey, hey, let me figure out how much it's going to cost to get new pads and all this stuff. And so it's kind of funny that, that ties in because I had done that literally in the last 24 hours. So,
well, hopefully you're able to reach your goalie goals.
Yes. Oh, that hurts a little bit.
No problem.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to today's episode of the Commexis Cast Daily. Check us out tomorrow for more of the latest trending news. Have a great day.